Greetings, Summoners. Cosmic here, and welcome back to another Battle Spirit Saga Versus video. And today we have a special brew from Ryan Miles, the Shadow Bugs, or Bug Shadows, or Green Shadows, whatever you want to call it. Let me know what this pet name should be in the comments below. But it is basically a green-purple mid-range, and I know this is something that we've seen from the Gen Con events, and a lot of people have been brewing with it, but I really love this one, as I'm sure if you've been watching the channel for a while. I just love Shadows. I love the Shadows archetype from set 1. It's super fun. I love that aristocrat style of gameplay. I love the self-sacrificing nature with Nemesis to get more value. It just does a lot of cool stuff. But with green, we got ramp. We got some cool stuff you can do with some bugs. And then you have Queen on the top end, who actually combos very well with Nemesis, as you'll find out. So this was an absolutely fun brew to play against, and one that I think, you know, deserves a little bit more love and some creativity getting put into it, that you might see this at a future event. And I know a lot of people will just be saying, well, you could just play straight Shadows and use Lamrack and do what we've been seeing with the online events. But you know what? Sometimes you want a little green. Sometimes you want to spice it up a little bit. And at the power level that this has at the top end, I mean, don't write it off. I am fully admit that I am someone who is like, all right, Queen is the worst, you know, X-Rare in green. You know, maybe it still is, but I was surprised that when you can line it up a specific way, and especially with this list overall, it's a powerhouse. Like, it actually did a lot in this matchup, and I could definitely see Queen being a better card even into set 3 or set 4 as we get more of the Ant style of support than that Nemesis could feed on as well. So if you are looking for an aristocrat or self-sacrificing for value style of gameplay, absolutely check out this list and check out the Versus videos, because it was super, super fun. So with that, let's get into the cards themselves. So as you know, Dread Knight Nemesis from set 1, king of the purple sacrifice archetype. He's been doing pretty well in some online events, and, you know, in set 1 and now in set 2 of some of the other events, Nemesis has been making a splash. Overall, Shadow's got a really nice upgrade. Lamrack and Impaler Force is kind of all you needed, because purple was already pretty good, but, you know, they got a couple other tools. But really, the important part here is that how does this work going into Queen, right? One of the main problems that you've seen with Queen is just far too much of a late game card. Even with all the ramp, it takes forever to get there. But Nemesis actually combos very well with Queen for multiple reasons, right? So one, Nemesis can come down reasonably early and kind of chip away at the board for you, and just being a good value engine when we have things like Rotting Swamp and able to peel cores off your opponent's spirits, as well as deadly balanced effects, right? It's going to draw you cards. All of that is great. However, when we look at Queen, and of course she's going to summon some tokens for us, because why not have more fodder for Nemesis? But that level 2 effect is super, super spicy when a Nemesis sticks on the board. So anytime that one of your guys dies during the attack step, which, spoiler, Nemesis has to be in the attack step, you get to select one of your opponent's spirits and exhaust it. So now you're also able to clear the way for Nemesis. Or if you have just it's a late game, right? Because we've already established Queen takes a while to get there. Now you're saying, okay, cool, you're at 2 life. I have these Ant tokens now. You can block this 1K. Sure. I'm going to tap something else down and then remove 2 blockers, right? It's basically Gale 1 on every single spirit you have then, right? That's low enough. Or they just take a damage, and that's fine too. And if they take the damage, spoiler, you can just still use Nemesis, pop the token, exhaust something, get the value off Nemesis, right? So it all just chains together very, very nicely. And where I was kind of hoping the Queen might have its own, like, very well-established archetype, and it still might. I'll be perfectly honest, I haven't done too much in green outside of, like, the Armor Tree and Blade Beast stuff, which I personally have been loving and is super fun to play. Maybe someone else out there has been super all in on the Queen hype train, and they got a more mono green style list that works. Definitely let me know in the comments below if you did. But at least for me personally, I just found it to be not having enough of the pieces for its archetype yet that I'd really like, that you have to splash other stuff. But of course, in set 3, like we've seen for Shadows, right? I've talked about this before, the block design style that Battle Spirits is using. Shadows got really good support in set 2. I'm sure Carapites and Insectoids will get really good support in set 3. And then in set 4, obviously, all this will continue to come together. So keep that in mind as we're building some of these. There are just evolutions off one another, and there are going to be key cards from older sets that do come back in this way that are really important for these archetypes. So Queen herself, of course, not to be missed, because it's a 9-drop. It does go up to 12k, which is a very good number to attack with as well, because again, we're not going to have a lot of power boosting effects in this deck. We do have ways to remove blockers, but a 12k in this style of deck is practically unkillable unless they have, you know, like the Core Theft, or they catch you with a Deadly Balance somehow, right? Curse Dragon combo, things of that nature, right? It's very, very hard to remove the Queen once you establish the board and get the value out of her. So just her being able to attack at 12 is going to just be KOing a lot of stuff along the way. So don't sleep on Queen. I definitely think someone else can brew something out there to make her really shine, but right now she is just a very strong synergistic piece with the Shadows archetype that Ryan did a wonderful job at bringing this all together in one package. Moving on from there, we do have other green cards, though. It's not just the Queen, right? It could be if you wanted it to, but if you run 2 other green cards, of course, Thorn Prison, because that's been everywhere right now, and then Worker Ant-Man, right? This is a card that has been an automatic MVP across a wide variety of lists in the meta. Worker Ant-Man just going everywhere. He's working overtime for this format. We got to see some really cool plays in the finals at the most recent Grand Open, where Zach was able to stick 2 threats on the board. Worker Ant-Man was able to ramp some cores, and then lined up a Dream Bomb without having to sacrifice his spirits to then still push the damage. So I think a lot of strategies going forward, if you are on a more mid-range or control strategy, like just throw some Worker Ant-Mans in there. At least try it out, right? The ability to ramp in extra cores where you're able to accelerate these plays can be very, very strong tempo swings. So I would love to spend some more time brewing with something white-green, and that's what I'm going to be doing actually after the Monroeville Grand Open. But all of it, it's going to start like, all right, here's some Worker Ant-Mans, here's some Thorn Prisons. Let's figure out what the rest of the deck looks like. But again, 4K comes down early, ramps you cores. The guy just does everything. And then, of course, it does count as a green reduction for the Queen. It does ramp for the Queen. And then also, why not have a fun of Onyx Bird Yatagloss, which is another sacrifice engine that this deck can rely on. Now, of course, we have the opportunity to ramp some more cores, but we're talking about all this ramping. We're getting all these extra cores. Nemesis is naturally helping us stall out the game by his effects. And you could, I'm not saying it's going to happen all that often, but in theory, if the game goes long enough and you have the pieces for it, we do have a number of Carapites and Insectoids to sacrifice off. Yatagloss is just Thorn Prison on attack, right? That is very strong, especially if you combo that with the Queen's level 2 effect. And spoiler, she gave you those tokens to sacrifice. You are now saying exhaust 3 things on a single attack. Like, that is going to clear the way most of the time for the rest of your spirits to get through, unless they have either popping the Absolute Ice Shield, popping the suppressions, things of that nature, right? So there is obviously some counterplay to it, but at that, if you're putting 8 cores on this, like, hopefully it gets there anyways, right? That's going to remove a lot. Or even if they do, like, let's say they just bounce it because they just have to get rid of at least one of your attackers. Then you have the Leaf Wolves, right, that you can swift in from hand because all those cores just went back to your reserve. Or we're playing Beldegor. Maybe I just sacrifice off one of my 4 or 5 drops, get the Beldegor back, and continue to attack that way. So it really aligns for some interesting play patterns that can really pressure your opponent in ways that they're not expecting if they haven't been playing against a lot of green decks right now. So I still think Yatagloss is like a 1 to 2 of in a lot of these lists that have the Ant or Carapite Insectoid kind of sub-theme built into it. I would never go more than that, but it is a very, very strong card for what it wants to be doing. So, you know, fingers crossed, Prey Birds is another one that I'm like really hoping does something in set 3 as well. Because some of the cards that we got are like really, really cool for it. And I love Mr. Scoops or Scapowell as well. But, you know, I think there is something there, but we'll really see it shine in set 3. But overall, again, Worker Ant-Man, Thorn Prison, absolute MVP staples of the current format. Definitely make sure to try those out in your decks if you haven't already. Moving on from there, we have the Nexus cards. And yes, there is a depths in here. You might notice we don't need to spend time talking about that. But Rotting Swamp, of course, being the staple for Shadows, right? We talk about all this. I want to delete my own guys in combat. And I can do it for value, right? You have those turns where Dread Knight Nemesis gets to attack, pop your elemental, draw a card from Rotting Swamp. Then Impaler Forest is going to trigger. Oh, if they block with, while you have depths out, you draw another card, right? So there's just massive draw and value engines you can get going quite easily. And yes, we don't have like Black Lance or Reduke, so we're not really going to get to use the level 2 at all for Rotting Swamps or in any meaningful way, but it is just good enough because you have things like the Nemesis that are constantly getting you value, or sometimes you just have to attack with an elemental, right? That's still a draw 2, that's fine. Or as we talked about with the Beldegor plays, having the deadly balances, things like that, we do have more ways in our deck to make sure that we are always drawing from Rotting Swamp. And then the one that I loved, and you've probably seen in a few lists that have popped up in like the control strategies, right? Impaler Forest. The level 2, it's super strong, lets you mill a card, put a spirit back on top of your deck, get back those Nemesis cards. Like, so it has a purpose in this list as well, right? That level 2 can be relevant. Sometimes you just want more copies of Nemesis. However, that level 1 is certainly kind of scary when you combo it with Nemesis. on attack effect where he strips 2 cores and then your opponent has to strip another core. So overall, Impaler Forest was a huge upgrade for the Shadows archetype in set 2, and one that I definitely think we'll be seeing a lot more of as this kind of overall archetype or family of cards grows into set 3 and then set 4. So both of these Nexus cards just being absolutely wonderful staples for what they can do. And of course, the last card that is worth talking about and kind of already hinted at a few different times is Deadly Balance. Now, we have seen with Thorn Prison getting added to the meta, some decks have cut back on Deadly Balance, right? It's not just the automatic 4 of in every single purple list until the end of time anymore, because the card pool is getting deeper, because Magic cards are getting more competitive, because Burst cards are getting more competitive, right? We are running out of deck space unless you quickly go up to a 60 card deck. So you have to be more mindful about what slots you're putting in here, but Deadly Balance is truly an MVP for this list, right? So we have turns where Nemesis can attack, sacrifice something, and then if you just really need to remove blockers, right, let Nemesis effect resolve, draw off Rotting Swamp, pop the Deadly Balance with Nemesis being at level 2 or 3, getting to remove 2 of their guys and draw more cards. Or, again, we talked about Yatagloss just being able to attacking and remove some stuff, right? Let's say that connects and that's fine. You can then swing with something else, pop a Deadly Balance to sacrifice your Yatagloss if you really wanted to get Beldegors back and have multiple more attackers if they don't have an Ice Shield or you're expecting like a Thorn Prison, something of that nature, right? So there's a way to get just so much more value out of this card in set 2 than there even was in set 1, right? Set 1, you did the typical like Beldegor plays and that was all fine and whatnot, but you can just do so much more with it in set 2 that I need to pick up some SPRs still. It's kind of surprised I don't have them yet because I love all of Gaz's artwork and I have like signed Yamato cards from him because I just love the stuff he does. And fingers crossed he gets to do some Hydras for set 3, but I think it's just gorgeous artwork. And again, it's one of those things that I think we are moving away from the time where it's like always going to be a 4 of in purple lists. You know, it's probably still going to be a 3 of as we get more and more Magics that are competitive, but it's just a very good card for the various effects that it can enable. So definitely pick them up if you haven't already, because I know some of the set 1 SPRs have been going up in price because, again, no one's really opening them anymore. But again, the Deadly SPR, absolutely gorgeous, and Deadly Balance does make a lot of sense in this list in particular. So with that, that is our quick overview of the list again before we get into some games. Huge shout out to Ryan Miles for putting this together and joining me on the Versus video for this week. And again, I really want to say that if you haven't had a chance yet to check out the green and purple style of decks, or you haven't visited the Shadows archetype in general in a little while because they got Lamorak, because they got Impaler Forest, definitely do. I think it's absolutely a wonderful archetype that's very well positioned in the current meta, and I think it is one that we will continue to see support for with the set 3. And again, I think green just adds a lot to it that it's definitely worth considering adding green instead of just the mono purple builds we've seen so far. So with that out of the way, let's get into the game.
Lush. Pay the soul core. Nice mulligan, idiot.
Yep, discard a Penton.
Fast turn.
Core step, draw step.
Penton is right in the glare.
Yeah, there's not much I can do about there. There's that one blind spot on my end.
No worries.
Just getting
Man.
a couple boys out.
Yep.
Pass to you.
You want the 5K over the draw. Fair enough. 4.
I don't know what shenanigans you got.
Refresh. Send me my deck list. You know what shenanigans I got. Pass.
Alright, core step, draw step. He is only a 3K though.
No, he has 5 cores on him. There's no way he's only a 3K with 5 cores. That'd be ridiculous.
Pass to you.
Core step. Draw step. Now he has 6 cores on him. Pass.
Alright. Core step B, draw
Riveting,
step.
riveting game.
Yeah, we are certainly off to the races on this one, but would that be
1, 2, 3.
Oh, that's fine.
Eagle.
4K blessed.
Take. In 1.
Yep. Blessed will trigger, pass back to you.
Core step. Draw step. Refresh. Depths. feels like since you've done nothing this whole game, like that you might possibly have some burning forces ready for me. I'll pass.
Okay. Core step. Draw step. I wish I did. Refresh.
Sick.
And you still kept 2 cores, so unfortunate. Well, I don't want you to have all the fun this game. So,
Also playing depths, that'd be very unfortunate for me.
I'm going to also just have to kill one of my guys and play depths.
Jesus, okay.
Past you.
Core step. Draw step. Refresh. I'm actually going to have all the fun this game.
Okay.
Burning force.
It's gone.
Eagle says level 1s can't block?
Correct. Or level 1s can't block Bless specifically.
Yeah. We'll play an Amethyst and pass.
Yep. Well, that one's definitely in the clear. Core step, draw step. I know what it is. Refresh. Penton. Oops. I don't know why I put 2 cores over there. He only cost 1.
No, he costs 2.
With
He just
one
has
reduction. Ooh.
Hey.
Yep, you still have all the draw on it. Yep, I will just pass.
Core step. Draw step. Refresh. Swap.
Yep.
Next step.
Yep.
Nemesis. Film Tarantula. I'd like to draw 2 cards. I'll trigger Rotting Swap.
Yep. You will draw 3 cards in total. How big is Nemesis again?
Just a 6k.
Alright, I will block with dual equal. You will draw another card.
I will.
And then I have flash priority as a blocker, so I'm going to Topaz Radiance for free because of Penton. Put it up to 8k and draw a card because I have 3 yellow symbols.
I have no flash.
No flash.
I'll draw a card to swap.
Yep.
Pass turn.
Core step. Draw step. Refresh. Yep. Depths and pass. Or pass here? Actually, that way he only has level 1 on him.
Level 1, yeah.
Unfortunately, I don't have the 3 for Eagle, so I can't even connect how I want to connect here. No, I just have to pass.
Core step. Draw step. Refresh. Taylor Forest for 2.
Yep. Man, someone has all the Nexus this game.
Yeah. Don't ask me how many depths are in my hand. Pay 4 for Nemesis.
Yep.
Want to draw a card or have a level 3 Nemesis? I actually think I have enough cards. I think I'm just, in case you pick core theft, let's put the soul core on here. Back step.
Yep.
Nemesis attacks. Trigger your depths. Kill my Amethystis. Trigger my swamp. Remove 2 cores from the Dual Eagle.
Yep, understandable. Have a nice
Impaler,
day.
Impaler Force is going to trigger after you draw and I draw. And then you're going to get to choose to remove a core from one of your guys.
Yep, Penton is going to die.
Yep. Any other effects?
No effect, no flash.
I have no flash.
I will just take it from life.
Yep. Go to 5. I passed.
All right. Core step, draw step, refresh.
A lot of men.
Yep. All the blockers in the world, but not much to show for it. I will. 3. How big is Nemesis again? 8K, right?
8K, yeah.
Yep. I will pass.
Core step. Draw step. Cards in hand.
3.
Okay, 3. Worker Ant-Man.
Yep.
Attack set.
Yep.
Nemesis attacks. Kills Amethystis. I'll remove 2 cores from the Ginger Bloom with the Soul Core.
Sure.
Amethystis triggers, I draw 1. Swamp triggers, I draw 1. And then remove 2 immediately. Impaler Forest, after I draw 2, you pick 1 to remove a core.
Yep. Sacrifice the Ginger Bloom here.
That looks good.
And he is
And then
a 8K, remind me, right?
still an 8K, that's correct. 4 in reserve now.
Yep. I'm gonna block with, or pre-block flash priority. I'm sorry.
I have no flash.
I'm going to block with a Tin Man.
He's 5K, correct?
Yep.
Yep.
And
I
you
have
will-
no flash.
We'll draw
Or you have
depths.
flash first, sorry. I draw off depths, yep.
Yep.
Give me flash.
Yes. I am going to pay for Exhaust Nexus to bring him down to a 5K.
5K.
To 5K.
Yep. And you're also a 5K?
Yep.
That's fine. We will trade. I will draw a card off of Swamp. And then you will trigger the Nemesis level 2 to kill your... Yep, that makes sense.
Yep. Get the one that gets me a draw.
Sounds good. You're at 5 life. Attack step.
Yep.
Yep. Attack with 8 man. Get a core. You draw.
Yep. Draw from depths. Decline
Any
flash. And I'll take it from life.
Yep. Pass to you.
4 step, draw step,
Cards in hand now.
refresh. 6.
6.
5. Burning Force your depths.
Yep. What was cards in hand?
5 now.
5 now. Okay.
You probably forgot to draw off the Ginger Bloom effect.
Yeah, that's good.
1 for 10.
Yep.
2 for. I'm gonna be 1 short, unless I give up the draw on that. 2 for Arcana.
Good.
And then 2 for a Dual Eagle.
Good.
I will go to combat.
We're in combat.
Swing with Dual Eagle for 4K blessed.
Flash Leaf Wolf.
Yep.
Cards in hand is 4 now.
2.
2. Play 2 cards. Yep. Or like 4 guys, I guess. 2 cards. I really don't want you drawing, so. Yep. Oh, other world says draw a card when he. So you draw a card either way.
Yes. Arcana Knights, threatening and draw versus Netherworld Depths as well for if you block.
Yep. And you're at 4K.
4K blocker. Yep. Or 4K dual eagle.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and go for the block.
Yep. Draw from depths. Block is good. Go to combat, swing with Hex Knight.
I have no flash.
No flash. Back to you.
Force set. Draw set. 3 cards in hand, no burst set.
Correct.
Burning Force, the depths, because we're playing Battle Spirits. Eldegore, the other lander, for 2.
Yep.
Play depths because we're playing Battle Spirits. Pack step.
Yep.
Ant-Man, trigger core.
Yep. Decline flash.
Flying flash.
Take it from life.
Pass turn.
Core step. Draw step. Refresh. Blessed Cathedral.
Yep.
I will just pass there, actually.
Core. Draw. Refresh. Finally playing green cards. Antraine.
Yep.
2 tokens. Apologies. Pumper level 2. We will come in with token for 1.
Or sorry, you select or I select?
I select.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Sorry that my 9 mana card is good.
Right?
Or
Unacceptable.
I've had this card in my hand since like turn 2. I'm just like, please let me draw green cards and play her.
No, that is currently threatening to do stuff, it turns out.
It is. It's threatening to not trigger Cathedral and also tap your other blocker.
Yeah, I think I just have to play cleanup for the next turn, so we're just gonna exhaust Nexus.
Yeah, triggers 1 time. I tap your Ginger Bloom.
Yep, and you'll draw a card.
I will, in fact. We'll still come in for 1K.
Yep. Block with Tin Man.
Get a core, sorry.
Yep, get a core. Draw a card.
I forgot to draw off of the Antraine effect, if that's okay.
Yep, you're good.
Yeah, and then draw now for the block.
Yep.
We have no flash.
Yep, no flash.
Take the death. Swamp trigger.
Yep.
Next up.
Yep.
Entrain.
Go down 2.
I have flash.
Oh, sure. I will Ice Shield in response.
Yep. I'm just thinking of how many cores bottom. I think it's all of them. How many cards in hand?
Just 1 now.
Pass to you.
Yep, refresh.
set a burst pass.
That'll be good. Force up. Draw step. Refresh. The second Antraine that I've had in my hand since turn 2. Two tokens. Any bursts on the wind summon?
Nope.
Got a gloss. Leave this up for my reserve. Hex up.
Yep.
Attack with Yada Gloss. Kill a token. This will get a core from the void onto Yada Gloss. I will draw a card for Rotting Swamp. You get to choose a guy for Impaler Forest, and I'll tap a guy for Antraine. I'll tap the Ginger Bloom.
Yep. Nice shield.
Yep. Taking the one and go to you.
That does nothing though. 5. 6, 7 for Fallen Angel, Cadia.
Everything is level 1.
Yep.
I don't know what the other parts of that card do, but I know my stuff is level 1. You have Lesser, and then your Void Lords can't be blocked. Is that the level 2,
Yeah,
level 3?
yeah. But I'm pretty sure I'm still dead. Anyways, you have a million cards in hand, right?
I have approximately 12.
Yep, we do it anyways. Go to combat, swing, exhaust Nexus from hand.
Dies.
Should be kill everything but the queens.
Yep, we'll tap down the Tin Soldier.
Only on your attack step.
Oh, that's correct. In that case, it'll just be a Thorn Prism.
Yep. And
So
that will
much.
end my turn.
Yeah, take the one.
Yep.
Force up.
Also, that's a bummer too, because I had enough cores for the full weight, but no, the purple depths is going to, the draw engine from purple was enough.
Yep. Refresh. And then Mushranchel, your last card.
Yep.
Yeah, swing lethal.
Yep.